everyone, my name is Elizabeth, this is Frizzy Lizzie's Stitches, and this is Flosstube number 76. Hello everyone, today is May the 9th, 2025, and I am back at you with another Flosstube update. This one is kind of special in the sense that I pretty much only will be talking about Stitch North in this video. My last Flosstube update was like the weekend before Stitch North, so I really didn't do, I think I only worked on one project, and I ended up bringing that project to Stitch North and finishing it. So everything that I'm about to share with you is like what I worked on at the retreat, things that I purchased at the retreat, things that were given to me, and then just kind of like how the retreat went, my traveling there and back, and all things Stitch North. So let's just jump right into, I think we're gonna start with all the projects that I worked on, and then after that I will move on into I think like gifts and haul, and then we'll talk about the trip, and then actually have a little giveaway. So stay tuned for that later in the video. And then we'll kind of talk about like my plans between now and my next retreat, which will be StitchCon in June. So let's get started talking about what I worked on at Stitch North. Okay, I lied. Actually, first thing I want to do is show my Landon canvas tote bag. I mentioned in my last Flosstube that I ordered one of these, but I had a little bit of trouble because they sent it to me and it had the wrong monogram on it. So I had to send it back and they had to send me a new one. It literally came in Wednesday evening and I had to leave Thursday morning. So it came in just the nick of time. I decorated it, stuffed it with all of my stitchy things, and hit the road. So this is what my bag looks like. This is the large size zip top with the long handle, and I got the lavender color, and then I got it monogrammed to say Lizzie in like a lilac font or lilac thread color, and then I added a bunch of doodads stuff to it to decorate it. So I have my little Winnie the Pooh Nuimo. He's kind of attached with like a ponytail holder, like a backpack, so he can hang out on the straps. And then I have a little keepsakes keychain, a Stitch North keychain from last year. Wilson is trying to bring me toys, so if you hear him, I'm sorry. And then over here, I have some buttons so that I've collected from several different places. And then my friend Maddie made me this Stitch North bag charm, and then this one right here, it says crafty. That was like a freebie that was in our swag bag, and so I made that using that. Yes, I know, thank you, Wilson. Goodness. But yeah, so this is my giant bag. Oh yeah, and then this one is a needle minder from Elizabeth can Stitch. So that is kind of the overhaul of what my bag looks like. And let's just start showing the actual projects that I worked on. Okay, I keep changing what I am trying to say. In order to get to my projects, I have to take out other stuff that's in this bag. So I think I'm actually going to show you like what I put in my bag. Most all this stuff ended up getting used, so that's good. But first things first, I did bring my light. The tables at Stitch North do not have outlets. However, this has a USB on it, and so I was just able to use a battery pack to power this, so that I could use it to shine some light on my project. And I'm just keeping it together with one of those little cable tie things. So that was in my bag. I also had some like kind of source material stuff that I decided to bring. So I did bring my DMC color card. This was very helpful for, I didn't end up using it, but my friends ended up using it. But it was very helpful for doing color conversions with all the Roxy Floss Co. stuff that was there. So that was a convenient thing to bring. I also brought this Ultimate Sampler Motif source book. This was mainly because my friends wanted to flip through it and take a look at it, so I brought that as well. And then deep in this bag is my lap stand, so I did bring that. And then I have my Notions pouch. This is I think it's a Minky Kim pattern, but Elizabeth from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch made this for me. And I just keep all of my stitchy notions in here. So I've got scissors, measuring tape, needles, a little orc catcher, some like pens and highlighters, some frogging tools. I have some of these little spoolie things to help wrangle my fabric. That's kind of what I keep in this pouch. And then I also had a pouch with all the stuff that I was handing out. So this has stickers and friendship bracelets and bead dogs in it. That's how I kept all this stuff together. And what else is in here that's not a project? I think that's it. The rest of this is actual, I did bring this for knitting, however I didn't really end up using it, but it is just like a reading light that you put around your neck. I don't like it for stitching because it's not, I can't get it close enough to my actual stitching, but it is really helpful for knitting if you're knitting in the dark. So I also brought that, even though I didn't end up knitting. So anyway, okay, I'm not lying. Let's get into what I stitched on at Stitch North. All right, the first thing that I worked on was Pigeon and Puddle by the Blue Flower. This was the project that I was working on before Stitch North, that week leading up, and I ended up finishing it at Stitch North. So this is what mine looks like. I stitched it on 36 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers linen in the color Chai Love You, and I did a custom color conversion just using stuff that I either had in my stash or I did purchase some variegated DMCs. I think there's only one color in this whole pattern that actually is called for, and that's the orange color, which is a DMC variegated. I will try to put together, I haven't posted about this on my Instagram yet, but when I do, I will be sharing all the floss colors that I used. So if you want to replicate that, you can. But so I used 3 DMC variegateds. One of them is the orange, which is, like I said, was one of the called for. I also used a DMC variegated in his neck color, and I used a DMC variegated for the water. And I think it turned out beautifully. His body is a Cottage Garden Threads, but it's not the called for Cottage Garden Threads. However, Brijin did use the called for, and I was able to like put mine up against hers, and it looked almost identical, except for mine had like kind of like pinky undertones to it. So yeah, anyway, I thought it was a good substitute to use. And then the rest of these I think are color and cotton. But like I said, I will have a detailed floss list for this when I post about it on my Instagram in the next week or so. I need to take really nice project photos because it is such a beautiful sunny day. So it's great for photo taking. So I can stock up on a bunch of photos to post to my Instagram. But yeah, so I got to finish this at the retreat. I'll put up a little clip of me going to ring the bell, and Bridget took my photo. But yeah, super cute. Bridget and I should have taken a picture together with our pigeons, but that's okay because Cam and Marjorie also are stitching this, and neither one of them have finished their pigeon yet, so I need to talk to them and see if they'll bring their pigeons to StitchCon, and then we can get a little pigeon picture of the 4 of us with our pigeons, because I think that would be so cute. But I did put my initials in the corner here, in the year, and I think that might be all that I have to say. I do need to get a frame for this. So, and I'm gonna do an oval wooden frame like the cover image shows, because I think that'll be really sweet. All right, the next project that I worked on was a new start, and I'm keeping it in this beautiful project bag that my friend Liz from Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch made for me and several other people who were starting Cherry Magpie. This bag she has a tutorial for this style of bag. And it's a fantastic tutorial. So if you are handy with the sewing machine and want to make yourself another type of project bag, this would be a great tutorial to finish, because this bag is so cute and I just love how simple and adorable it is. So but inside is my new start, which I did get to 10%. This is also kind of haul because I bought all these materials as a pre-order so that I could pick it up at the retreat. But this is Cherry Magpie by JedXStitch. I'll put the picture of what the cover photo is here. And I am using the Roxy Floss Co. conversion put together by Carrie, who's the dyer behind Roxy Floss. And here's what it looks like. So beautiful. And I think the real big showstopper is this fabric. It's called Temptation. And I got a 36 count. And this is what my start looks like. So like I said, I did get this to 10%, which is just over 1,000 stitches. I did a corner start, and then I kind of worked my way over to the top center so that I could work on that cherry, which looks so good. I'm obsessed with how this looks. I cannot wait to keep stitching on this. This needle minder is also new. I got that at the retreat, and I think it looks good with this project. And I'm so excited. This gummy bear needle minder, I also was gifted at the retreat. Oh my gosh, the colors, they're popping, they're fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. I really want to work on this, but I have so many other things I need to work on at the moment. So my plan is to be a real good girl with my stitching between now and StitchCon so that I can maybe work on this at StitchCon as like a little treat. So anyway, that is my Cherry Magpie. I'm so excited. Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher, she actually has been on a hiatus for quite some time because she had a baby, but she also started this project with us and she's gotten so far. So if you want to see more of this color combination in this pattern, go check out Lauren's latest video. I haven't watched it myself yet, but I'm already plugging it because I know I saw the pictures of her project, and anyway, it looks so good. And I can't wait to see this come together because it's gorgeous. All right, that was kind of the bulk of what I worked on. However, I did work on one other project, which is Sampler Garden by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is what it's going to look like. I actually started using Markup RXP. I have been a diehard Pattern Keeper user because I figured out how to use that on my computer, but going to the retreat, I really wanted to be able to use something on my iPad because lugging my laptop to the stitching room just takes up a lot of space on the table, and so I wanted to try to use something on my iPad. All of my friends use Markup RXP and they love it, so I decided that I would finally pay for it and give it a try, and it was very nice and convenient to use. One of the things that Markup RXP does that Pattern Keeper does not do is it allows you to see a mock-up of your stitching, and you can change the background color to whatever you want. So you can kind of get a better idea of like what your colors look like on a certain shade of fabric. So I'll pop up a picture here of the mock-up of what my colors would look like on my fabric. And it's so stunning, which makes me more excited to work on this. But as you can see, I'm doing some wild, crazy colors. So these are Roxy Floss Co. flosses that I got at last year's Stitch North when I kitted this up. So I've got Girly Girl, Back to the Fuchsia, Sayonara, and Daydream. And this is what my project looks like. Ooh, let me put something behind this because it's kind of showing through. There we go. Oh, look how pretty! This fabric is 36 count Fibrilicious Yummy Fibers linen in the color Ashes to Ashes. And I am actually stitching with one strand over 2 linen threads. I usually do 2 strands on 36 count, but when I bought the floss, I bought it to stitch with 1 strand because I thought I would do this on a 40 count. And then I ended up switching my fabric when I got home, and I pretty much exclusively have 36 count in my stash. So I just decided that it would be a good time to try doing 1/2 on 36. So that's what my pattern looks like so far. I think this is about 5%. So I would really, my goal for this project for the year is to get to 25%, but I really would like to get it to 10% before I go to StitchCon, because that is like less than 2,000 stitches. So I think that is a doable like mini goal for the big goal. But yeah, so that's how my sampler garden is looking. And I only put like 200 something stitches into this at the retreat. I mainly focused on Pigeon and Puddle and Cherry Magpie. Okay, another project that got worked on, but I did not work on it, is my pass around project. So I started this at StitchCon last year, and I was very excited to be able to bring it to another retreat. So this is 324 by Works by ABC. And this is my pass around project. So essentially I will just take my project to some other stitchers and explain to them kind of what I'm going for, and then they stitch a motif in a square in whatever floss they want on my fabric. So this is what it's looking like so far. I feel like, I don't know how many people actually stitched on it between StitchCon and now, but I feel like all this kind of got filled in at Stitch North this year. So this is looking fantastic. I'm so excited about it. I haven't marked up all the progress yet to see how far along this is now. But if I had to guess, I feel like it's probably more than a quarter of the way across. I think this is a square piece, but anyway, it's looking really fun. This is 32 count Lugana from Color and Cotton in the color Stormy Sea. And I have told people that they can stitch with 1 or 2 strands. There are a couple people who actually stitched over 1. This purple motif and then this rust orange motif are both over 1, which is super fun to look at. So yeah, that is how my 324 is looking. And I feel like once this is filled in and complete, I think I'm gonna turn it into like a throw pillow or something to put, eventually in my mind, I have this beautiful stitching room with a cute little stitching chair, and in the stitching chair would be a throw pillow with this on it. So anyway, maybe one day that dream will come true. All right, so those are the projects that I worked on. There are a few more things in my bag that I brought or kind of gathered that I want to go through. So first off, this is a Jasmine Customs bag in like the large size, and this was fantastic. This was a fantastic addition to my stitchy bag because not only did I store like 2 projects in here, it also held 3 Q-snaps. 3 Q-snaps. Okay, so this was very helpful for kind of keeping my bag organized, so I didn't just have Q-snaps laying around everywhere. But I loved having this in there. And then another thing, I did bring with me my Extraordinary Birds. I did not end up stitching on this at all. So I think my sweet spot for retreats is definitely 2 or 3 projects. So I'll have to keep that in mind when I'm packing for StitchCon. But yeah, I did not touch this project at all because I pretty much worked on like Pigeon and Puddle on Friday, and then Cherry Magpie on Saturday, and then I worked on Sampler Garden like Saturday night, and then I didn't really do any stitching on Thursday or Sunday. So there is an extra day at StitchCon, so I might be able to actually stitch on 4 projects then, but I did bring a project that didn't get touched. Another thing I acquired was me and my friends, Brijin, Cam, and Rachel are doing a whip exchange program. And so Brijin had just finished Cam's project, and since we saw each other at Stitch North, she gave me Cam's project since I'm the next one to stitch on it. And so I'll go ahead and show that to you. I haven't worked on this yet, but this is the Misfilled Sampler by Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. And I think this is like Stitch Me Cocoa. I don't know the count. And then she is using the called for, I think it's mostly Classic Colorworks that it's stitched with. So that's gorgeous. And I'm excited to stitch on this. The plan right now is to get my parts. I'm going to add 2,000 stitches to this, and then I will give it to Rachel at StitchCon, and then she'll be the last one to stitch on it before this is returned to Cam. Another thing that was super helpful for keeping my bag organized was this little pouch that my friend Marjorie made for me last year. And I have the flosses for Pigeon and Puddle in here, but I also put in some other like stitchy notions. So I have this thread bed, I have a 7-inch Morgan hoop, I have an 8x8 grime guard, and then when I use Q-snaps, I like to put a piece of flannel in between the clamp and the cross stitch fabric. So I have a little bundle of flannel strips here for that. And that was just kind of another little notions bag that I used to help keep myself organized. All right, and that's all that I had in my tote bag. Now I want to kind of go over stuff that was gifted to me. So first I want to talk about this beautiful lanyard, name tag lanyard that my friend Brijin made. I wore this at the retreat every day. I did stitch my name to go in here prior to the retreat, but this is literally perfect. This little pouch down here is perfect to hold a hotel card, your credit card, whatever. So I used that, and it was very convenient to have my credit card handy for shopping. It also has a pouch on the back, which does fit your cell phone. However, I didn't put my phone in here just because my phone's kind of heavy. But I did put my lip gloss in there, so that was super convenient, because if you've been around me for any length of time in person, you know that I'm putting lip gloss on like every 30 minutes to an hour because I'm just addicted. But yeah, and then my actual name tag, you can see the top border is a little bit cut off by the binding there, so I am planning to relace this to kind of scoot it down on the board, but I did lace this up like before the retreat, so I'm just gonna undo the lacing like up and down this way so I can scoot it down so that the entire border can be seen inside the little window. But that is my name tag, and I'm so excited to have this for all my future retreats. And yeah, I just matched the DMC floss to the fabric that Brijin used to make the name tag. All right, some other things that I was gifted were actually knitting related. So my friend Cam got me these precious Alice in Wonderland stitch markers. I'm already using one of them on my blanket. But we've got the little bunny, Alice, the Mad Hatter, and the little mouse in the teacup. And then the one that's missing is the Cheshire Cat. I put him on my, where did I put it? Here. I put him on my blanket that I'm working on. Let me see if I can show him to you, because he's honestly my favorite. He's so cute. So there's the little Cheshire Cat. And I put him on my blanket. I actually did put a marker where I was in my last video, so I can show y'all in my next Flosstube. I'm not going to talk about this blanket right now because I've only been working on it this week. So I think I might have put in like half a round while I was at Stitch North. So we will talk in detail about this project later. So yeah, Cam gave me those precious stitch markers. She also gave me a project bag, which I put down. Where did I put it? All right, so Cam picked out this precious project bag for me from Sheba Designs. So she was able to, Melissa from Sheba Designs was at the retreat, so she was like doing like a pre-order pickup situation. So Cam like ordered a bunch of bags for us and was able to get them at the retreat and hand them to us. So this is what the back fabric looks like. And it has a little quote around the stem. It says, "There are always flowers for those who want to see them." And I just love that. So super cute. I love that. And I love Sheba Designs project bags. They're a good size. The vinyl feels really nice. And I just really like how they're made. Okay, and then my friend Liz from Elizabeth Ann, she gave me this skein of yarn. This is the mustache yarn. Sorry for my chair, it's really squeaky. This is the mustache yarn in the color Eras, and this is a self-striping yarn, and each stripe represents a color of a Taylor Swift album. And it was funny because she gave this to me and I was like, I already have this yarn. But I'm actually really excited to have 2 skeins of this because now, number one, I'm not as scared to knit with the one that I have because I have an extra. And number two, I can make matching Taylor Swift socks for me and my sister. So that is definitely what's going to happen. And then my friend Shiloh gifted me this sock set from, I'm not sure what SBY stands for, Fiber Mercantile. Maybe it's Shirley Brijin Yarns. Maybe that's what SBY is. Because on the back it says shirleybrijin.com. So this is the color Winter Frost. And this is her starboard sock. And it's a 75/25 merino nylon. And yeah, it's so pretty. This totally reminds me of Vera Bradley Java Blue. I don't know if anyone remembers that colorway, but this is what that reminds me of. So I'm very excited to make some socks with this yarn. All right, the last bag that I have to go through is kind of my swag bag, but I also threw stuff in here that I purchased and that other people gave me. So let's go through like still what people gave me. This is a little pouch from Allie at Allie Stitches 310 on Instagram. This is like a little, like you could clip it to your bag, but it's filled with like a bunch of STITCHY emergency kit things. So if I can get it unzipped, there's like a seam ripper, some scissors, a measuring tape, some tweezers in there. And so that's super cute. And I'm excited to put all that to use. Then there were 2 ladies who were sitting with me, Brijin, Cam, and Maddie, and one of them gave us these little polar bear project bags, which are super cute. And then the other woman who was sitting with us, Cindy, is the one who gave us the polar bear bag. And then Kathleen gave us, she had kitted up some of these Primrose Cottage patterns. So I picked up a Spring Quaker, and she had kitted it up with this variegated DMC, which I'm very excited to use because those colors are totally up my alley. And then she also put in some of those little spoolies to help wrangle your fabric, which I love. Okay, I acquired a bunch of like floss drops and such, let me take stuff out of this bag so I actually know what I'm looking at. Okay, I think we're decently organized now. I'm not going to show like every single little free thing I got, but I do want to go through what I got in the goodie bag. So there's this pattern from Needlework Adventures called Stitch North Scissor Fob, which just says SN for Stitch North and 2025. And then we got this cute little like frogging emergency kit from I Can Sew Make That. And there's a seam ripper, a little spoolie, and a mint in there. There was like an extra goodie bag at our table, so I did hijack an extra one of these. These are flosses from the sewing shop.ca, so I ended up with 2 of those. I ended up with this really cute little needle book or floss bed or what have you from Gamma's Treasure. Has a really cute little heart in there and like little pockets on the side for like, you could put like a pouch of needles or something in there. Anyway, that is super cute and it's embroidered on the front. Hand dyed by Rolanda put in this 25-yard skein of overdyed cotton, and this is a special color, so she just named it Stitch North Spring 2025, and it's this really pretty like maroon Merlot color. And I really need to do the math to see how many stitches I could get out of this so I can pick the perfect monochromatic chart to stitch that with. This is from Monkey and Mouse Stitchery, and they are some like 3D printed floss drops. They're like yellow hearts. Paint with Stitches included a little like freebie chart that is like a Frosty the Snowman with a Christmas tree. This came from Mislaid Pages, and it's a chart that says thank you for existing. And then she also included just a random ornament cut of fabric. So this one honestly looks probably like a 32 count linen, and it's just like this pink and blue, like very dreamy color with some like blue and purple in the center. We got this pattern from Anne's Crafts, and it's called Lily of the Valley. It's a little full coverage picture moment going on there. Got this little notebook from Pastime Pieces, good for just taking some random notes. I'm very excited about this. This is a tiny martinist chart called Stitcher's Garden. It's so cute, and it actually is not that large. It's 80 by 112, so that might be a project in my future. And then Evertote gave us, let's see, there's a skein of Roxy Flosscoat in the color Elle Woods. And then they also included a pattern from Maximum Cross Stitch, and it looks like that. It says in the cookie of life, friends are the chocolate chips. Sorry for that weird angle. And then there's also, they also included a piece of candy and a keychain that says Stitch North. And then there's a maple leaf pin in there. And that was it. So that was all the stuff that was in the freebie bag. I did also collect several stickers and floss drops from different people that are kind of strewn about my lap right now. And then the last thing before we get into purchases is I found this on the freebie table. And I just thought it was really cute. I do not plan on stitching this on a bib because I just don't think that's practical. However, this little cat is so cute. And so I kind of want to stitch this cat as a bookmark because it's just so cute. And I think I could easily make it a gray kitty instead of an orange one to look like my little Piper. So anyway, I just thought that was cute and it was on the freebie table. All right, let's talk about purchases. All right, so first thing is from Simply Stitched. I got this adorable little mini project bag. Brijin also got a matching one, which is really fun. And this is her small size. She does have a bigger size that is more like a standard size project bag, but I really like the little ones because I don't have very many of them. And then I also got this scissor case. And it also has like little flannel on the flap right here that you could easily like tuck a needle into. But this would be perfect to slide your scissors in so that they don't poke into your project or what have you. So yeah, and it has this like a little elastic loop on there too. And since we're talking about Simply Stitched, this would be a great time to talk about the giveaway that I'm gonna have. So Jen from Simply Stitch was very kind and offered to donate a bag to be given away here on my channel. And so I didn't actually think of a keyword that I want you to use yet. Okay, I think I know what I want you guys to comment. Okay, so first of all, please be 18 or older so that you can give me your contact information and what have you. Basically, the way it's going to work is the winner will need to give me their name and address, and then I will put you in contact with Jen so that she can send you your choice of a project bag. So please leave a comment below using the word friend. And do not use the words giveaway or win or anything like that because we don't want to attract any trolls to the comments. And then I will announce the winner in my next video, which should be about 3 weeks from now. But yeah, so if you're interested in entering to win a project bag, it probably will be the regular size. Like I said, this is the mini. I only have the mini size of her bags, but this is like a standard size, and this is how small the mini is in comparison. So anyway, but yeah, so if you want to win a project bag from Simply Stitch, leave a comment below using the word friend. All right, so let's keep moving on with things I purchased. I also bought, oh here, actually, let's talk about this one. I got a scissor spool. So it has holes on the top to put your scissors in, like this, like that. And I got this at Pastime Pieces, which was a vendor at the retreat this year. And this was very affordable pricing compared to other scissor spools that I've seen on like Etsy and what have you. So I had to get one of these. It's the perfect size to stitch a tiny town on either 32 or 36 count linen. I will be doing 36 count. And it is unfinished, so I can stain this whatever color I want. And I will be following Liz's tutorial because she does have a video on how she finishes it to be wrapped around the scissor spool like this. So yeah, I'm very excited about this purchase, and I definitely need to start stitching some tiny towns. I have several of them, I just haven't stitched any of them yet. So now I have a scissor spool to finish them on. Okay, and then my final purchases were made at the Evertote shop there at the retreat. So I did get 3 cuts of fabric. These are all 36 count and they all are a 1/4 cut. This one is porcelain, which is just a very pretty neutral. This one is cherry cobbler. Unlike anything I have in my stash, so I thought it would make a great addition. So pretty. And then the last color that I purchased is Pub Crawl, which is also something that I just don't have anything like this in my stash. So I thought it would be really good addition. So those are the 3 pieces of fabric that I got. And then I also bought an assortment of floss. Keep in mind, I did, like I said earlier, I fully kitted Cherry Magpie, so that was kind of the bulk of my purchase. But I did just buy an assortment of flosses because some of them were just looking at me the whole retreat, and I was like, you have to come home with me, sorry. So first off, I got some just really good neutrals to add to my stash. We have Morel, Earl Grey, and Double Double. I think those are really pretty. They're all like kind of similar, but also very different. And then this is kind of what I've been calling my like Elizabeth palette. So this was purely just colors that I thought went well together and that were catching my eye. So this one in particular was staring at me the whole time because it was like on the end of the floss wall, like facing where I was sitting. And I just kept looking over my eye. It would just catch my eye. So anyway, this is called Off Topic. Minted. Pink Lady. Thistle While You Work. And Subjective. Which Subjective looks really similar to Back to the Fuchsia. However, believe it or not, it's actually like quite toned down compared to Back to the Fuchsia. So there's kind of a comparison. And I feel like this one's Back to the Fuchsia. This one's Subjective. So they are very similar, but Back to the Fuchsia I feel like is more vibrant and less variegated. So yeah, anyway, I thought that was fun. I always love seeing colors that like look almost the same and then you hold them up next to each other and you're like, oh, these are actually different. So anyway, I got those flosses as well. And then I also had purchased that needle minder, the Roxy Floss Co. one that I have on my Cherry Magpie. So, okay. I think that was all the stuff that I was gifted and stuff that I purchased. So I think I'm gonna take a water break and then we can chat about kind of like just the retreat in general. All right, so I'm gonna get comfortable for this one. So Stitch North was, let's see, Friday through Sunday, May 1st through May 4th. And I went to this retreat with 3 of my friends, Maddie from Kitty Stitch, Cam from Can the Stitcher, and Brijin from the Museum Stitcher. Cam and Brijin both flew into Cincinnati, where Maddie lives, and then the 3 of them drove an hour north to where I live so that the 4 of us could drive from Ohio to Toronto. And it was such a great time. Poor Brijin had some struggles with her flight on Wednesday, but she did make it to Maddie's in time to be able to get like a couple hours of sleep and then come see me so that we could make our big drive to Canada. So we had a really fun time getting to have a road trip together, and we stopped at Niagara Falls on the way in and got to see that, which was really fun. And then we got to our hotel probably around 4 p.m., 4:30, something like that. So we pretty much just like ate dinner, made a Walmart run, and kind of just relaxed in our room and chatted with each other, worked on some projects if we felt like it, etc. And then Friday was the first day of the retreat, and it started at like 8 in the morning. And because in addition to the 4 of us, there were also like 5 other people that we were trying to sit close to. So we kind of coordinated to get there early enough where we could claim tables really close to each other. And so we ended up getting in line at like 6:45, and there was already like a bunch of people there. So I was kind of surprised because last year I got there at 7 and I was like the first person in line. So I think it's catching on that you got to get there early if you want to get the table you want. So anyway, that was fun. But yeah, once we got settled in the stitching room, we kind of just like started setting up our spaces and stitching, saying hi to people we hadn't seen in a long time, exchanging gifts, all that sort of stuff. And then for lunch that day, we ended up going to the Mandarin, which is this Chinese buffet that's like very kitschy, and like it feels like going to like Rainforest Cafe or something where there's just like a lot of decoration, and the food there is really yummy, and they have quite a wide variety of food as well. So we had a really nice lunch, and we actually were seated in the fish room, which was really fun because this was my 3rd time going to the Mandarin, and the other 2 times I believe we were in the waterfall room. So it was kind of nice to get to sit in a different area of the restaurant. And I'll be putting up pictures while I'm talking so you can kind of get context as to what was going on. But yeah, so after we ate lunch is when at this point I was tired of working on Pigeon and Puddle, so I decided to start Cherry Magpie. And so I started Cherry Magpie and was having really fun with that. And that was kind of, what did we do for dinner that night? I think they fed us dinner that night. They fed us hamburgers as part of the retreat cost. They feed you 1 meal, and so that was our 1 meal, was that Friday night. And then let's see, Saturday I got back to working on Pigeon and Puddle, and I got that finished I think before we went to lunch, and we ended up going to Costco to get hot dogs. So because it's like within walking distance of the hotel, and it's just like cheap, easy, fast. And so that's what we did on Saturday for lunch. And so I got my Pigeon and Puddle finished, and then I decided to keep working on Cherry Magpie because I really wanted to get it to 10%. And then at that point, we went to another restaurant for dinner called Boston Pizza, which has nothing to do with Boston, and pizza is only like a quarter of their menu. So I ended up getting like spinach and artichoke dip because I wasn't that hungry, so I just got an appetizer for my dinner. And then when we got back, they had some more raffles, and I worked on Sampler Garden Saturday night. And then Sunday, they do a half day on Sunday, so I think the retreat was supposed to end about 12. We decided they were gonna do the raffle at 10, but they ended up doing the raffle at like 10:45, 11 o'clock. So we did stay for the last raffle of the trip, which ended up being good because Maddie did win the raffle. So did that, and then we got on the road to drive back to the States. And when we were coming back to the States, we actually drove through Detroit. And so that was a lot more driving in Canada, but it was pretty much a straight shot. And like the first exit that we were going to be taking was to go through customs. So that worked out great. And yeah, and it actually was like, I think an hour shorter of a trip going through Detroit rather than going around Lake Erie the other way. So yeah, but we had a fantastic time. Unfortunately, when we got back to Ohio, it was like pouring down rain. So I had to do a really quick goodbye to Brijin, Maddie, and Cam, but that's okay because I'm going to see them in like a month at StitchCon. So, but we had a fantastic time. I love Stitch North so much, and I'm looking forward to going again next year. And I think I am gonna fly next time because this was the 3rd year in a row that I drove, and so I think I'm tired of driving there. So we'll probably look into flying next time. But I wouldn't trade it for anything having driven this year, because it was really fun to have people in the car with me this time. But yeah, so that was kind of my Stitch North experience. Thank you so much for sticking around and seeing what I got up to and all that jazz. And I think that's gonna be it for Stitch North stuff. Like I said, if you want to enter the giveaway for the Stamply Stitch cross stitch bag or project bag, then please leave a comment with the word friend. And I'm pretty much, as far as plans go, I'm pretty much going to be working on my Sweet 16 goals, trying to get my goal list wrangled and checked off before I go to StitchCon, and inevitably do stuff that's not part of my plans, because that's what you do when you go to retreats, is you do fun stuff instead of what you plan to do. So anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you in about 3 weeks in my next Flosstube update. Bye!